Okay, so welcome back. We are carrying on with our study of trig and the compound angle identities. So let's dive straight in. So determining sine 75 without a calculator. Now remember, our special angles are 45 degrees, 30 degrees, and 60 degrees. So we can actually make 75 the best way of making 75 is actually to go 30 plus 45. So if we go sine of 30 plus 45. Now, remember, we need to know these identities in our head. Sine of A plus B, sine A cos B plus cos A sine B. Right, and our A here is 30 and our B here is 45 degrees. Sine of 30 is a half. Cos of 45 is root 2 over 2. Cos of 30 is root 3 over 2, and sine of 45 is root 2 over 2. So what we end up with is we get root 2 over 4 plus root 6 over 4. Seeing as they're both over 4, we can just add them and put them as one fraction over 4. Okay, and we are able to check that answer on our calculator. So let's do exactly that. Go sine of 75. And there it is, root 6 plus root 2 over 4. Okay, the next one says prove that all of this. Okay, so this is clearly going to involve our compound angle formulas, and we're just going to have to sort of plug away with the two different formulas. Okay, so the first one, root 3. Okay, now root 3 is going to be multiplied into all of sine of x plus 60, it's exactly the one we've just used. It's sine x cos 60 plus cos x sine 60. And then we need to subtract all of sine of x plus 30, which is going to be sine x cos 30 plus cos x sine 30. Just managed to squash that in there. Okay, all right, that is going to equal, now, root 3, now cos 60 is a half, so this is going to be root 3 over 2 times sine x. Sine of 60 is root 3 over 2. Now, when we multiply root 3 over 2 by root 3, we get 3 over 2. So we're going to get 3 over 2 cos x. When we now subtract, we're going to get cos 30 is root 3 over 2 sine x, and sine 30 is a half, so we're going to get minus a half cos x. Okay, and so what we in fact are going to get, these are going to cancel out entirely, and we're going to get negative 3 over 2 cos x. Sorry, this is not negative 3 over 2 cos x. This is positive 3 over 2 cos x. It's 1.5 cos x minus a half cos x gives us cos x, and that is our right hand side. Okay, right, simplifying the following. If you haven't tried these, pause the video briefly, try them, and then we'll look at them shortly. Okay, so this one's going to be sine alpha cos 60. I'm actually going to start slightly further off to the left just to give myself a bit more space here. Okay, so we've got sine of alpha plus 60. Sorry, we've got sine of alpha cos of 60. Sorry guys, my computer's just playing catch up with this. Sine alpha cos 60 plus cos alpha sine 60. We're going to minus, now we've got the cos one, and remember the cos one goes cos, and the sign changes. So this one's going to be cos alpha cos 30 plus sine alpha sine 30. Okay, and so this is going to be, cos 60 is a half, so this is going to be a half sine alpha. This one's going to be, sine of 60 is root 3 over 2, so we're going to get root 3 over 2 cos alpha. Then we're going to get minus, cos of 30 is root 3 over 2, so we're actually going to get root 3 over 2 cos alpha again. And here we're going to get minus, and sine alpha, sine 30 is a half, so we're going to get minus a half sine alpha. Okay, and in fact what we're going to get here is we're going to get 0, right? Because these two cancel one another out completely, as do these two cancel one another out completely. Okay, the last one before we move on is this one over here, and it's going to be cos x cos 60, cos x cos 60 minus sine x sine 60. And that's all going to be multiplied by cos x. And minus sine x times the product of sine x cos 60 plus cos x sine 60. Okay, right, so it got a little bit tight there. So what we're going to get now is we're going to get cos x times cos x. We're going to get cos squared x times cos 60, but cos 60 is a half. Here we're going to get minus sine x cos x times sine 60. So it's going to be minus sine x cos x. And sine 60 is root 3 over 2. Here we're going to get minus sine x cos 60. That's sine squared x. And cos 60 is a half. So it's going to be a half. And then lastly at the back here, we're going to get minus sine x cos x times the sine of 60, and the sine of 60 is root 3 over 2. Okay, so what's actually going to happen here is okay, just trying to see what we've got here. I'm just checking whether we've made any silly mistakes here. No, it's all looking good. These two, in fact, we're going to get minus 2 of these. So we're going to get minus root 3 sine x cos x plus a half cos squared x minus a half sine squared x. Okay, and that seems to me to be as good as it gets. I'm hoping I haven't made a silly mistake, because I was expecting more stuff to kind of simplify here. Okay, all right, but it looks right to me. Okay, it seems as that's as good as it's going to get. Okay, now if we turn over, we're moving on now to investigating sine of alpha plus alpha. Now, sine of alpha plus alpha is obviously, we're just using our identity that we've had before, but this is obviously going to, now, instead of a beta, we're going to have sine alpha cos beta plus cos alpha sine beta. Sorry. So we don't have any betas at all. We've got sine alpha cos alpha plus cos alpha sine alpha. So in fact what we've got sine of alpha cos alpha twice. And this is the formula for sine of 2 lots of alpha. So here's a new identity. This is called a double angle formula. a double angle identity. Right, so sine of two things is 2 sine of that thing cos of that thing. We need to commit that to memory. These are what we call double angle identities. In exactly the same way, we're going to generate some for cos. All right, so here, using the cos alpha plus beta, but putting alpha in instead of beta, we're going to get cos alpha minus sine alpha. So in fact what we actually get for cos of 2 alpha, we actually get cos squared alpha minus sine squared alpha. Now that looks very familiar to the cos squared plus sine squared, but this is cos squared minus sine squared, and it's the double angle formula for cos. I'm going to highlight that there in green. Okay. Now remember, and we've just mentioned it, that sine squared plus cos squared is 1. So cos squared is in fact 1 minus sine squared. So if I write this green one out again, but instead of writing cos squared alpha, here I'm going to write 1 minus sine squared alpha. So I actually get 1 minus sine squared alpha, and then sine squared alpha, sorry. And then I've still got the other minus sine squared alpha. Sorry guys, my computer's just catching up. So in fact what we've got is we've got 1 minus 2 sine squared alpha. And that's another alternative for cos of 2 alpha. I'm going to highlight that one green as well. And there it is. And now the last one we're going to do, we're actually going to write this out again. Cos 2 alpha is cos squared alpha minus sine squared alpha. But instead of sine squared, we're going to write 1 minus cos squared alpha. We are going to substitute in this piece over here. Right? This over here for our sine squared. And now what we get is we get cos 2 alpha to cos squared alpha minus 1. And so we've actually now got 3 different flavors for cos 2 alpha. We need to learn all of them. And we've also got one option for sine 2 alpha. There they are all summarized. It's really, really important that we learn these off by heart. Okay, now on the next pages of this workbook, we left something out here that we meant to put in, and we apologize, all right? But what we're going to write down here is all the stuff that we need to know so far, all right? And what I'm going to ask you to do is to turn the left-hand side of the page, sorry, the side of the page in, and to fold it in halfway, all right? And so what we're going to do is we're going to ask you, and I'm just going to make this page a bit bigger so I can try and write it all on one page for you. We're going to ask you to write these down. I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to write them. I'm going to stop the video. I'm going to and then write them all down. Then we're going to ask you to fill them all in. Okay, so we want you to copy all of those formulae down. Now, if you folded the edge of your page in and wrote all the equal signs down on the fold, okay, that's what we want you to do, then you can check yourself by folding the page closed. You can check that you know the right-hand sides of the formula. On the next page, we want you to copy that page down again, but we want you to swap them around, okay? Now you'll be able to fold in the side of the page and check the other side of the formula. And that's why this thing is quite important, because it will help us to learn these. Knowing these is an absolute game changer, right? So we need you to learn these forwards, backwards by heart. Okay, on the previous page there it actually says learn them forwards and strokhab. Now strokhab is backwards spelt backwards. So write these down on the page. We're just going to zoom out here. Write those down on your page, and then turn the page over, fold the page in again, and put all the equal signs on the fold line. But swap on the next page, you're going to swap the left and right hand sides around. Before the next lesson, we want you to learn all of these. We want you to know them. So if you see cos of coffee cup, let's have a look. Cos coffee cup, cos tape measure, minus sine coffee cup, sine tape measure, then you're dealing with cos of coffee cup plus tape measure. If you see, let's think what else we could have. If you see sine of phone, sine of heart, cos of phone plus cos of heart, sine of phone, then that one is sine of heart plus phone. If you see 2 cos squared phone minus 1, that's the same as cos of 2 phone. If you see 1 minus 2 sine squared heart, that's the same as cos of 2 heart. You need to learn them off by heart. Have a great day. We'll see you next time.